and do my speech on the video, and then these are the 3 note cards that I am going to use throughout the speech. This is all it has on there. And then I also have this to where I have to read it off my slideshow. That's what I was going to use for my visual presentation. And then I'm also going to use my other phone for a stopwatch to show you where I ended at. Okay, so I'm starting now. According to the Adopt Us Kids website, there are currently more than 400,000 children in foster care in the United States right now. The foster care system has changed drastically over the last many years. There has been. I'm going to tell you how the foster care system has changed for the children and for the foster parents. Have you ever met someone that you knew that was maybe a friend, a family member that has went into the foster care system? I personally know a few that went there myself. Most of the time when children go to the foster care system, it is because they lost to where they couldn't be with their parent or their guardian anymore for something that their parent or guardian did. Children nowadays are being neglected, abandoned, and abused. Every year, thousands of children are put into the foster care system, and each year the numbers rise by more than 3 times. Now I'm going to talk about the foster care system laws, which is right here. That's what I'm going to use. In the 1500s, English poor laws was developed. If you were in poverty or you were homeless, you were placed in indentured service until the age of 18. When you hit the age of 18, you were placed out of the system and you were left to fend for yourself. In 1853, a man named Charles L. Brace developed a modern-day foster care called Children's Aid New York. This modern-day foster care helped neglected children or homeless people off the streets. In the 1900s, laws shifted from protecting the guardians to protecting the foster children. In the early 18th century, local agencies began to keep records of foster parents and the foster children. In 1977, a court-appointed special advocate, also known as CASA or CASA model, was introduced. Judge David Sukup designed this model. This court-appointed special advocate, also known as a court-appointed guardian, will stay with the child throughout their placement changes. This person will also help the child in court and tell the judge what the child's opinion is and what the child wants to do. In 2012, California's Assembly bill passed, making it where children could remain in foster care until the age of 21 years old, but they only had to meet one criterion. They had to have a GED, a diploma, be a part of an employment program, have a medical condition, or employed for at least 80 hours a month. Now I'm going to talk to you about the effects of the foster care system. Being in the foster care system, children tend to have poor physical and mental health, low self-esteem, less happiness while being stuck in the system, and more. Children tend to also lag more behind than children that are not in the foster care system. For example, they are less likely to graduate, homelessness, less likely to enroll in college, a different social life, and higher teen pregnancies. Now these are effects that these are the effects of being in a foster care system, but there are plenty of more. But these are the main effects. Now I'm going to tell you about a little boy named Gabriel Fernandez. Gabriel Fernandez was an 8-year-old boy that lived with his mother, but was also placed in a foster care system ever since he was a baby. For the last 3 years of his life, Gabriel Fernandez lived with his mother and her boyfriend. Gabriel Fernandez was tortured and abused by his mother for 3 years straight. He would go to school with bruises on his arms, bruises on his face, missing teeth, broken bones, a hole in the back of his head. But no one ever did anything or said anything. Finally, one night, the police came to Gabriel Fernandez's house around 3 o'clock in the morning. When they got there, they noticed that Gabriel Fernandez was lying on the floor, not breathing. They then asked the mother, "What happened to Gabriel Fernandez?" She said, "He fell." The boyfriend was just standing there not doing anything. The mother wasn't doing anything either. So they end up rushing Gabriel Fernandez to the hospital. The doctors, every single doctor, worked on him for hours, but he ended up dying in surgery. The only reason why I decided to tell y'all this story was this shows that the foster care system is different in each state, but it also shows that it has changed in plenty of ways. This foster care system where Gabriel Fernandez was failed him in so many ways. Now, the mother is stuck in prison trying to get out on parole, but they're trying to keep her in there for life. Today you have heard me talk about how the foster care system has changed over the last few years. Can you really imagine what these children have been through or what they think of when they go into the system? I can, because I was definitely one of them children that went into the foster care system ever since I was a little kid. And from what I can tell you, the foster care system is a bad place to go because sometimes you feel like you have no one to take care of you, no one to love you, and you feel like you have no one there ever. If you know anybody in the foster care system, make sure you love them and you support them and you do whatever you can to help them. Now I'm going to show you a video about Gabriel Fernandez and his mother in the courtroom.
We are following in court the mother of 8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez, who was beaten and tortured to death in 2013, will stay in prison. A judge rejected a resentencing bid by Pearl Fernandez.
Fernandez's attorney had argued if she were tried now, she couldn't be convicted of first-degree murder because of recent changes in state law. The judge's ruling means she'll continue serving life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It was emotional being back in that courtroom again. For me, it took me back 3 years ago, 5 years ago. But you know what? Our wounds will heal. We're thankful that she's been denied and she will die in prison, where she's intended to.
Fernandez's boyfriend was sentenced to death for Gabriel's murder. A small protest was held outside the courthouse calling for justice. Some are blaming DA George Gascon's policies for helping further these types of petitions.
And right here is a picture of Gabriel Fernandez, what he looked like before he was abused and tortured by his mother and his mother's boyfriend. And I just want to let you know, I did stop at the mark of 6 minutes and 5 seconds, but this is the end of my presentation, including the video. Thank you.